Here's my tutoring for the moles conversion game. So a D20 is the 20-sided dice, or you can get a random number generator or just fake it if you're at home. If you're at home, can you fill out at least half of these? Let's try number one. Okay, I've rolled a 1, okay? Or my group rolled a 1, and that means that we're going to involve this chemical, and then individually we roll again. And so let's say that I rolled a 5. So now I'm using this chemical, and I have 5 of the thing. 5 what? Well, we're going from mass to moles, so I have 5 grams, because grams is the unit for mass. We're going to go to moles. Now, this thing is really helpful here. So I can post that. If you don't have one, get one, I suggest. You can use it on the quizzes and so forth. So here's moles, here's volume, which is measured in liters. Mass, of course, is measured in grams. So we're going to go from mass to moles. So we're going this way, mass to moles. Find the arrow that goes that direction. Notice it says 1 mole over molar mass. So we have one step to perform. That means we're going to need one conversion. We're going to need one conversion. And it says moles, 1 mole always, over the molar mass. Well, what's the molar mass of this? Well, this is what we did before. So let's give a demo of that, though. What do I have? I have 3 H's and 1 P and 4 O's, 4 oxygens. And I've had kids thinking this is polonium, but every capital letter is a new element. This is phosphorus, 1, and oxygen, 4. So the molar mass of hydrogen is 1, and by that I mean to 1 decimal. Can we use 1 decimal here at least? It's 1.0. Phosphorus is 31.0 if I round to 1 decimal. Round properly. And oxygen rounded to 1 decimal number is 16.0. So times 1.0 times 39.0. Sorry, 31, isn't it? 31.0 and 16.0. 3 of those is 3. 1 of those, of course, is 31. And 4 of those is 48. And then we can add them up because the masses add up. If you keep loading bricks in the truck, the masses add up. So we get 0.0. 9 and 3 is 12. Carry the 1, 7, 8, 82. And the unit is grams per mole. The unit for this calculation is always grams per mole. The big number that you get is always grams. And it's always per mole, and it's always per 1 mole. So I've just found this value, because remember we said we're going to have the molar mass on the bottom, and mass is measured in grams. So the grams number goes down here, 82.0 grams. Now, the other reason I know that the grams go on the bottom is because I'm trying to get rid of grams. I'm trying to get something moles. So this number is on top, and some kids say, no, it's not. It's a nothing. It's not on top or the bottom of a fraction, but any normal number is over 1 if we want it to be. That's not mathematical cheating. It's just a restatement. I mean, isn't 3 the same as 3 over 1? So I'm not cheating when I put a normal number over 1. And so 3 can be argued to be the top of a fraction. So I'm going to say this is the top of the fraction, its own fraction, because that's going to help me see something that I'm going to get grams over grams, and that's going to cancel out. And to be super math picky, it cancels out to 1, but no one bothers writing the 1. I mean, I will this one time, I guess. This cancels out to 1, and this cancels out to 1. But multiplying by 1 and dividing by 1 doesn't help anybody, so let's just skip it. It kind of disappears. At this point, you might remember above the whiteboard in my room is this red and blue sign that says multiply by the top and divide by the bottom. So you're going to take 5 times 1, but no one cares, right? And divide by 82. So 5 divided by 82 is 0.061. Good enough for us? 0.061 moles of H3PO4. So if you're playing the game version, then let's say your opponent got 0.1. Okay, so she got 0.1, and you then got less. So your score would be 1 minus 0.061, except remember, you're down, right? So that's a negative number for you. Or some of you are shouting, we'll do it the other way, do this minus that one to get the negative number. Yeah, sure. It doesn't matter as long as you realize you're negative. If you have the lower number, then your score is negative. So my difference is negative 0.939, and her difference is positive 0.939. The subtotal is your running total for the previous plus the new, but we don't have a previous at the start, so there's nothing to change there. The subtotal is the previous total plus the new number, or minus in this case, the new number. But I don't have a previous number to carry over. So let's do something like 3. I rolled a 3. The group rolled a 3. And we know that chlorine as an element is diatomic. Remember, it has the little star. It's diatomic. And when it's on its own with its own kind, it makes pairs. So I'm asking you to remember that chlorine is Cl2. And remember, that's the same for oxygen. And do we have another one here? Fluorine is also diatomic. So our chemical is Cl2. And what do I have? Volume. Okay, and I roll, and let's just say I get an 8, just to make up a number. So I have 8. What's the unit for volume? Well, we're going to say that for this game, it's liters. So I have 8 liters. And I'm going to go to mass. That means I'm going to have 2 steps. I'm going to go from liters through moles to mass. That's 1 step, 2 steps. I'm going to have 2 conversions. By the way, also, we're not going to use this leg. I totally stole this off the internet. Maybe someday I'll get around to making a different map or something. But this is kind of pointless. And you're welcome, by the way, because I see teachers spending a couple of days of converting in and out of the regular number version of particles, atoms, molecules, and frankly, it's dumb. No one wants that answer, so we're not going to do it. But we're going to go from liters to moles to grams. So we're going to need 2 conversions. How do we get from liters to moles? Find the right arrow. It's moles over 22.4 liters. You don't have to memorize that number. It's right there. You can use these. I can put it on the board. You can write it on your test if you forget. I don't care. Let's not memorize a bunch of stuff, but about values, constants and equations. So it's 22.4 liters for every group of molecules called a mole, every group called a mole, every mole of them, if they're at the standard temperature and pressure. Now, if they're at standard conditions, whoops, they got out of focus. That says STP. Don't worry about what STP is right now. We got too many other things to think about. But standard conditions gives 22.4 liters for every one group called a mole. And you can look at the arrow, or you can say, I don't want liters, I want moles. That's right. So moles goes on top, it's always 1. You can write the 1, I don't care. It's 22.4. That cancels out the liters. And now I have moles, whatever 8 divided by 22.4 is. So now I'm here. I got to go from moles to mass. So it's going to be molar mass over 1 mole. So it's going to be grams over moles. Also, watch this. It lets me get rid of this moles because what do I want? Mass. What's that measured in? Grams. I want grams. So I got to get the moles out of here, and I would do that by canceling. And since I have moles up here, I want moles in the bottom, which is just another way of getting to the same thing that I got to use grams over moles. What's the mass of that? Well, we have chlorine, 35.5 twice. So that's going to be 71. 35.5 times 2 is 71. So our calculation is going to be 8 divided by 22.4 times 71, multiplied by the tops, divide by the bottoms. It doesn't matter what order you do them in, you get the same answer. A few kids insist on doing all the tops and then all the bottoms, but I think they get a few more mistakes that way. At least I'm always concerned that I'm going to forget to go back enough. So I just go in order. 8 divided by 22.4 times 71. as you can see here. And equals gives me 25.4, rounded to the third digit. Good enough, 25.4 grams of Cl2. And so let's say that my opponent got 10. Then I beat her by 35.4, right? So my new score on this one is plus 35.4. And then my new subtotal is that I realized just all of a sudden that I did this a little bit weird. The subtotal doesn't work if you're going to bounce up and down and up and down. So it doesn't matter if you keep the subtotal. Honestly, I don't really care. You can just keep these scores and do a grand total at the bottom. Also, really what I envisioned was that you do round 1, round 2, round 3. And I realized that I did this different. I said the chlorine part comes over here directly across. It doesn't super matter. My point is participate. Let's not argue too much about that. If you want to do, if you roll a 9 and you get SO2 and you want to do that right here, that's fine. It does mess up the subtotal thing because you're bouncing up and down, but let's not argue about that. If you're going to bounce up and down, just skip the subtotal thing and just, if you're playing the actual game, and just get your total at the very end when you're done and put that as your total score, your grand total down here. Remember, you can email me with questions and I can do a Zoom meeting with you too. So be productive, ask questions, get help.